What's up everyone? Welcome Squad and welcome to SlavGuns. I'm glad to have you here. As you may know by now, prior to getting started as a gun tuber, I've been an investment analyst covering the firearms industry in the financial press. Last month, I started bringing you the same type of research that I publish on financial websites in a video format right here on this channel. I recently asked you in a poll, how would you like to have this covered? And overwhelmingly, you've stated that you want to see the industry news in a recorded video format, so that's precisely what we will do. In these videos, I'll cover the latest background checks data, along with other broad industry news and how it may impact gun sales and eventually your gun rights. In our regular live casts, I'll then take your questions and discuss any other topics that may come up on your mind. So let's take a look at the NICS data. For November 2019, the FBI reported a total of 2,574,752 background checks. The headline number is up 181,709 checks, or 7.59%, from 2.393 million reported for November 2018. The November data also remained consistent with regular seasonal trends. In this case, we're now entering the holiday season marked by gift buying and discounts offered by manufacturers. Lastly, just as we saw with the August, September, and October headline data, the headline November 2019 NICS data was the highest November yet. We must look deeper into the numbers, as the headline checks include those that are related to concealed carry and ongoing background checks. So let's start with what I believe is the most important data set, the handgun background checks. I believe the handgun checks are a good proxy of new gun owners coming into the market. For November 2019, the FBI reported 637,123 handgun checks, and this is up 582,708 handgun checks in 2018, an increase of 54,415 or 9.33%. While the percentage increase is not massive, the really good news is that it seems that the 2018 low was a base rather than a new trend. The November 2019 handgun checks data was the fourth highest November yet. Once again, like a broken record, the big concern for the industry is the long gun data that covers rifles and shotguns. Not only is it not recovering, but we're also heading towards decade-low numbers. For November 2019, long gun checks decreased to 557,445 from 568,336 a year earlier, or a decrease of 10,891 or 1.91%. Unfortunately for November, the long gun data did not bounce back. Once again, some of the rifle sales may have gone over to handguns when we factor in the AR-15 sold as pistols instead of rifles. Combined, November 2019 saw 1.266 million background checks as adjusted by my methodology. This is up 31,476 checks, or 2.5% from 1.234 million a year ago. The combined data is certainly not near the peak seen in 2016. It is, however, somewhat more normalized. I do like to look at the combined data, particularly as it would eliminate the issue of AR pistols sold as handguns rather than rifles. So what does the data tell us? Most certainly 2019 is looking like a good year for background checks data and the associated transaction volume. As we know, however, the NICS data merely points to transaction volume and does not say anything about the average selling price, multiple purchase on the same background checks, and or whether or not the firearm was new or used, purchased from the store inventory or ordered online. This is where investors need to have a basic understanding as gun owners and do first-hand due diligence to fill in the rest. Despite the data being terrific in terms of year-over-year change, we have not had the turn into year-over-year gains for firearms and ammunition manufacturers, and even though American outdoor brands just reported solid, estimate-beating numbers, and I was writing this article while waiting for the earnings call to begin, the numbers are still below last year's data. So what do I think? I definitely think on the whole, there are more people buying new guns. I also think they're paying lower prices for them. The transactions that are happening, I suspect and see some signs that the inventory is coming from failed distributors and retail dealers who are glad to be finally trimming up their own exposure. I don't believe that a meaningful amount of that demand has yet to hit the manufacturer orders. Beyond that, there is now perhaps some more signs for the downturn in long gun data, particularly during the fall hunting season. Less and less young people are going out to hunt. What used to be a big activity even just 10 years ago is now replaced by young adults having other interests. To that, there is a general taboo of posting pictures from that hunt, as it's easy to get ridiculed in modern day social media. So what will spur demand? New products. The good news is we're quickly approaching the NSSF SHOT Show 2020, the industry's largest trade show, with some meaningful new product introductions. We just had H&K announce a major rollout of their HK SP5, a civilian version of the famous MP5 submachine gun. On December 12th, Glock is supposed to announce something new and big. And in the publicly traded space, American outdoor brands are slated to announce a new product, and I suspect Ruger will have some new models as well. I believe this will get gun owners going to their stores. As we discussed last month, I do believe that the September and October data was a good base. While I'm not going to go scream that this is the ultimate bullish sign, I am getting comfortable that the transaction volume overall seems to have found a footing here for the intermediate future. Even though I do believe that the election fear cycle has started already, I see a significant tailwind thanks to one Democratic candidate in particular, Mayor Michael Bloomberg, a staunch believer in strict gun control and who is on the record stating that the federal government should have ability to infringe on your individual rights, including the Second Amendment. So moving on, you might have seen a few articles out there discussing that by NSSF estimates, there are over 420 million firearms in the United States. So where does that data come from? It comes from the ATF and their annual firearms manufacturing and export report, along with the detailed firearms commerce report. Based on preliminary information in 2018, there are 3.679 million handguns, 598,000 revolvers, 2.8 million rifles, and 535,000 shotguns produced in the United States in 2018. To that, we can add 1 million miscellaneous firearms that would include things such as lowers, other firearms, and suppressors. A small percentage of those firearms were exported overseas. The detailed report only has most of the data for 2017. However, the preliminary data for 2018 shows that there's a pretty big drop in domestic manufactured revolvers and shotguns, while handguns and rifles remain fairly steady. Interestingly, the 1 million miscellaneous firearms is an increase, and that's most likely attributed to lower receivers and suppressors. So are people buying less shotguns? Probably not. For 2018, there were 713,000 shotguns imported from overseas. There were also 652,000 rifles and 2.9 million handguns imported. The largest importers can be assumed to be Glock and Taurus. If we assume that all of Austria's handgun exports are Glocks, this implies that Glock brought in more than 927,000 handguns into the United States in 2018, followed by Taurus with 664,000. So how about those Turkish shotguns? Well, there are more than 343,000 Turkish shotguns imported into the United States in 2018. They are followed by 168,000 shotguns from Italy and over 111,000 shotguns from China. Further in the report, we have some data related to the NFA, or the National Firearms Act, that covers machine guns and suppressors. What I'm most interested in here is the Form 4 applications. This is the tax-paid transfers, or essentially individuals buying suppressors, machine guns, or SBRs. For 2018, there were 128,324 Form 4s, which is down from 184,312 in 2017. I suppose buy one, get one free deals on suppressors running out will do that to the numbers. The other recent piece of news that made gun owners smile is the new Home Defense and Competitive Shooting Act introduced by Congressman Roger Marshall of Kansas. The bill specifically addresses short-barreled rifles, which are currently regulated by the NFA. Should it be passed, the SBR would simply be reclassified as a semi-automatic rifle without the need for registration or a tax stamp. One thing that this would certainly do is put all those pistol brace manufacturers in a very tough spot. After all, why bother with a pistol brace if you can use a regular stock? While this may simply be the 2020 version of the wet dreams gun owners had for the Hearing Protection Act, we can only hope, right? So there you go, your latest firearms industry and gun rights news. I hope you found it helpful and you learned something new. If you did, click the like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay up to date on our latest videos, including new handguns, rifles, industry news, and soon to come, our coverage of the NSSF 2020 SHOT Show. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.